Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Noodle Journey, where I'll be continuing to explore Tonkotsu Ramen with Nongshim's Tonkotsu Ramen with Kuromayu black garlic oil. Yes, this is pretty interesting. Nongshim, as we know, is a Korean company, and yet they make two varieties of a decidedly Japanese recipe, which is tonkotsu, which is a pork bone broth ramen. This one contains black garlic oil as a mix-in, while the other variety from Nongshim contains a spicy chili mix-in. The spicy one is generally available at one of your local warehouse clubs like Costco or BJ's, while this one has been a little harder for me to find, although I think it might also reside in warehouse clubs if you can find it. I bought this on Amazon for around $13 for a pack of 6, and I have very recently seen this pop up in my local Asian grocery store as well as on Yami and some other online storefronts for around the same price per bowl. This is manufactured by Nongshim's American facility in California, so it shouldn't be crazy hard to find if you live in the USA. Anyway, I love Nongshim, and I love Kuromayu, which is a burnt or scorched black garlic oil, and I really can't wait to see what they do with this. Even though Marutai is the most amazing instant tonkatsu I've ever tried, and I've also really enjoyed Itsuki's and Myojo's tonkatsu, the Nissin Damae black garlic oil tonkatsu is my go-to budget tonkatsu ramen, mainly due to the convenience factor. So I'm looking to see if Nongshim can beat it on taste and texture, since this has been a little easier to buy in recent months compared to Nissin Damae. Check out that Nissin Damae episode for more info on black garlic and that particular product. And also check out my review of Marutai's Kumamoto Kuromayu tonkatsu ramen to see the current champ of this style of tonkatsu. The thing that separates that Nissin black garlic oil from this is that this Kuromayu has a burnt finish to it that some might find unappealing. It has to do with chemical reactions that release a different flavor when the garlic is intentionally burned rather than just caramelized. Interesting stuff if you want to go down an internet rabbit hole reading about it. Anyway, I always poke around the instant ramen subreddit and some ramen Facebook groups, and people ask about this flavor a lot. And inevitably I see someone complain specifically about that burnt flavor. I happen to like that flavor, but I totally get why some people might not. It is, after all, burnt. If you are averse to the taste of intentionally burnt food, you can turn this review off right now and we'll have no hard feelings, I promise. But if you're adventurous, let's continue on. With all that out of the way, let's look at the vital statistics of this package. Sodium is a reasonable 1,510 milligrams, or 66% of your daily allowance. And this is a good sized bowl, so that's not terrible. Unlike some of the artificial tonkatsu I've had before, this is not vegetarian friendly, as it does contain chicken, pork, and fish products. So we have what appears to be the standard Nongshim round noodle block, and there's some dried scallions, and even a couple little garlic flakes in there. And we've got 2 packets, the dry soup powder and the Kuromayu oil, which also has black sesame paste in it to add to that earthy, scorched flavor. You might be able to see the difference in viscosity between the oil and the paste. To cook this, the instructions actually say to microwave it, so that is just what I'm going to do. We're going to pour room temperature water up to the fill line, which the package says ends up at about 330 milliliters if you care. Microwave for 3.5 to 4.5 minutes depending on your noodle preference, so 3.5 for this review since I like it firm AF. Then we're going to stir the powder in and the garlic oil and serve. Okay, these are done. Let's do the soup base first. Stir that together. That already smells pretty good on its own. This is very promising. And now, like I said before, the sesame paste and the oil do seem to be separated, so I am going to give this a good shake, squeeze, mash, and get it all mixed together. If you don't want too much sesame flavor in this, you can probably just pour out this liquid part of the oil and ignore however much of this paste that you want. But because I want to taste everything in this review, I'm going to squish this all up. And I gotta say, this is pretty stubborn. Okay, after an eternity of shaking and mashing this together, I think I finally got this pretty well mixed. So let's go ahead and pour it in. I just licked some of that off of my fingers, and it does have a very strong sesame taste and a very sweet black garlic taste. It's really good if you like that sort of thing. All right, let's go in for a taste. Okay, let's talk noodles. While the appearance of these suggests them to be the standard Nongshim round noodle that you see in their other products like Shin, there's something a little bit off about them to me. I think it might be because this is microwaved and not boiled on the stove. They're just a hair mushier than I'm used to from Nongshim, but they're not bad. Just missing a little bit of the texture that I normally expect from them. So I'm going to call them a 7 out of 10 instead of my usual 8. This isn't spicy at all, except maybe to those of you who might call strong garlic and sesame flavor spicy. So I'm going to say it's a 0 out of 10 on the spicy scale, unless you consider those two things to be spicy. Now, as for the flavor of this entire thing put together, it is saltier than I expected, but there is a lot going on with the other flavors. Like, I'm legitimately impressed at the taste of this broth. It doesn't have the same artificial meat taste that other powdered tonkotsu products like Nissin Rao have, because it does use actual powdered meat in here. And while there are other additives in here, that overly artificial flavor is really nowhere to be found. Now, I'm not saying that it's restaurant quality or even Marutai quality, and I don't know that I would even call this tonkotsu in the traditional sense, but it's pretty impressive for a powdered soup from an American factory. It's kind of Nongshim's homage to tonkotsu rather than a straightforward premium tonkotsu like I've reviewed before. What do I mean? Well, for example, the ginger in here is a little muted compared to other varieties I've had. The flavors of sesame, soy, garlic, onion, and the meat extracts in here are more potent, and I think the flavor of this is beyond what I expected at this price point. If I have any complaints beyond the saltiness, it's that, 1, I wish it had more of a thickener agent to make it a little creamier, since I think this is a little watery, even though we only use 330 milliliters of water and we have the starch from the noodles in here. And 2, the sesame paste is a little overpowering, even though I was braced for it, and I think it overshadows the taste of the black garlic. Now, I like sesame, and I think it complements the burnt flavor well enough, but I wish it was a bit less. So that's kind of my fault for going all in on the oil packet. But still, those gripes aside, it all comes together pretty nicely. The scallions and garlic flakes are big and tasty. Yeah, overall, this is a recommended 8 out of 10 for me. If the salt and sesame was ever so dialed back, and if the noodles had come out a little bit better, I would call this a 9 or a 9.5. So those two issues cost this a couple points from the score. So wow, minor complaints aside, what a nice product this is. I wish I could get my hands on the spicy variety to do a comparison, but sadly I do not belong to a warehouse club in my area that stocks the spicy one. I'll still keep a lookout for it though, maybe it will pop up in another store. Until then, this is an easy recommendation if you want some excellent instant pork soup with a charred garlic and sesame kick. Your usual tonkotsu toppings like additional scallions or a ramen egg will probably make this a hearty meal. Its random availability might be the only thing keeping me from replacing Nissin Damai black garlic in my pantry with this. But then again, that's been kind of hard to find too, so thankfully this came in a 6-pack, so I won't be running out anytime soon. So that's it for now, because I do want to turn off the camera to finish this. Please let me know in the comments if you've tried this or the spicy variety and what you think, or if there's an instant tonkotsu product at this price point that's even better. And as always, please like and subscribe to continue on this noodle journey with me.